Town Planning Board. Item 2 on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the January 13th, 2015 meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Item 3 is a site plan application for Joseph Sear of John T. Sear and Sons Incorporated to construct a 60 by 60 foot, 3,600 square foot commercial accessory building at 153 Gilman Falls Avenue, tax map 12, lot 13, case number 1518. I see Mr. O'Cana is here. You want to walk us through this?
Mr. Emerson,
Oh,
Ted's my alter ego.
I know, that's right.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Sorry
fine.
about that.
That's fine.
I knew that. I knew that too. I can't blame it on Monday either, so.
Well, good evening, Chairman, members of the board. I'm here representing Joe Sear, John T. Sear and Sons Incorporated, for their proposed 60-foot by 60-foot, 3,600 square foot garage accessory building to their existing site. As you can see, it's centrally located within their site proper. Their parcel is approximately 5 acres in size. The majority of it is gravel parking for their primary use, being a bus terminal. Joe had strategically located the building so it would fit his needs as far as bus circulation, traffic circulation, pedestrian circulation. It's a very unassuming project where it doesn't have too much going on inside. It's mostly a garage for truck repair and truck storage, bus repair and bus storage. There's very minimal impacts associated with the project. There's not going to be any restrooms proposed inside. People are going to use the restrooms that they normally use within the office building. So there won't be a demand for the water district. There won't be a demand for the sewer district. This project isn't going to be associated with an increase of employees. As far as parking goes, there's really the whole area, the whole site is a parking area. And it's relatively fluid. They move the trucks around and they move the buses around, and it's quite dynamic. Whatever the particular day is buses could be stored in one spot one day and be stored in another spot the next. There is I'm not sure if you can hear me if I move this over.
You're good.
The engineering, really, that was involved with this project, because it's a slab on grade on an existing gravel pad. So there wasn't a lot of complications as far as structural goes, but he did want to cheat into an existing drainage ditch that runs pretty much perpendicular or parallel with Gilman Falls Avenue. This drainage ditch is a vein that tends to go over to the LaBrie's Bakery property, and it more or less just meanders through all the commercial projects that's along Gilman Falls Avenue here. And he first wanted to put the building over the ditch and put a culvert down through the bottom of it, underneath it. And I discouraged Joe to go to sort of veer away from that idea. And I wanted to keep and maintain an open ditch in the rear of the project, or in the rear of his building. So he has, you'll see in a dark dashed line around my building footprint, that's a gravel pad, gravel envelope. And then it slopes off to a 2-to-1, 2.5-to-1 slope, going to the bottom of the ditch, meets the ditch invert elevation, and then comes back up at approximately a 2% slope. This increase of slant of slope will be reinforced with riprap to prohibit erosion. You could, technically, at times you can get away without stone armament on a 2-to-1 slope, but in this particular case, because we're going to constrict the flow a little bit here, it was very prudent to reinforce those slopes with stone for erosion and help to move the water along as well, so we don't have brush and everything else starting to grow up there. You will find in your sheet, I didn't do a full-fledged drainage study, and you'll see in the packet where I'm requesting a waiver on, you know, a 2, 10, and 25-year analysis of the storm event. For the primary reason is there's not going to be a net increase of impervious area. You'll see in the rear of the site the area to be revegetated. I requested to Joe that he would sacrifice a little bit of gravel area up here to compensate for the increase of impervious here, albeit very minimal, but still to make sure that the numbers match. And everything slopes right towards this ditch. So it will be a no net increase of impervious area. That also keeps any type of thresholds that might be static right now with any type of state permitting. This keeps things status quo. So we're not, you know, we wouldn't be impacting any type of state permitting as well. So the stormwater analysis is, will consist of, or consists of a full flow right up to the top of the, right up to the top elevation of the culvert. I'm not anticipating, and there's been no documentation or history of the culvert overtopping, but a full flow event of the culvert, and the open ditch matches the flow rate of the culvert, so it won't be restricting the.
Oscar, other than the riprap that you're going to put in there, you're not going to. That's been there for years. That ditch.
That ditch has been there for years.
And
so
yeah.
we're just moving it over a little bit and steepening up the sides, but still taking under consideration what's the hydraulic capacity of that ditch,
Right.
and making sure that it meets, like you said, the existing conditions. So we're just reconfiguring, but making sure that that reconfiguration doesn't somehow become a constricting factor.
And the access road to the back of the lot goes crosses right there.
Right there, that remains the same.
And then upstream of that is that just that little wooded wet area
Exactly.
over towards Old Town Canoe.
That's correct.
That's
correct.
where that flow comes from.
That's exactly right. Very slow, very, you know, very flat. You don't see.
And that's the headwaters of that drainage.
Pretty much it is.
It drains about half an acre.
Yep.
At that point. Is that about right?
That's about right. That's about right. So you'll see the details. You know, we have a stone riprap detail of the ditch. We also propose to have check dams here to make sure that during construction activities, you know, no sediments are being, no fugitive sediments are going to be going off the property. And that way, once these are trapped, these can be cleaned up. Boy, I mean, that pretty much is it in a nutshell. You know, pretty much the whole site is remaining the same. As far as, you know, I was talking about impacts, and I was talking about utilities, and I was talking about the stormwater. The other impact to be taken under consideration would be the visual impact. And as you can see, you know, it's parked behind the site, the office building in the Sear building proper. So, you know, could somebody see that from the road? Perhaps, but they would have to crane their head to actually try to see that. So it's actually tucked inside, you know, the overall site, and you have vegetation all the way around here. And the only people that might be able to see it would be the Old Town Canoe, but I mean, it's not like they have windows or anything pointing out into that direction. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell as far as the overall scope of the project.
Okay, Old Town hasn't signed on to the statewide standards for, they have their own shoreland zoning, right? As far, you know, statewide standards for water.
For stormwater?
Yeah, well, no, actually, you know, streams and,
That's not considered a,
no, I know. but has Old Town signed on to the statewide standards for forestry? Or
We have our own,
you're having your own, yeah. So it has, I didn't think you had, but just asking.
but, and with that being asked, we have our own shoreline zoning ordinance.
Right.
However, it was reviewed by the state.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so the bottom line is that that little drain there is not a recognized stream under anybody's review, and it drains at that point, you know, well, where it leaves the property, it drains less than an acre.
Correct.
Right. And
Okay.
typically, I know Army Corps of Engineer is not worried about ditches. And typically, DP wouldn't be too concerned about a ditch as well.
No,
You know, this area right here and these impoundment areas, these would be considered wetlands. This area, you know, I'm not sure, you know, that would be really a judgment call whether or not, right into the sag of the ditch, whether or not that's some wetland area. But there is, you know, wetland disturbance, you're exempt for 4,600 square feet anyways, where you're not even tripping any type of permitting threshold for DEP.
4,300 actually.
4,300, I'm sorry. And that's not even close. That's not even close to
Yeah,
impact.
okay, I just thought it'd be good to read this into the record.
Sure.
Just that it is not a stream, because if it was a stream and you were altering, you know, the shoreline, well, then you'd need a permit for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and you're not.
Right.
So that's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
So,
Also, that site has a stormwater management plan
Mm-hmm.
for the duration of whenever that was
and
construction.
again, as he said, since you're not really changing any of the, I mean, you could argue that maybe the gravel is not really impervious, but in this case, it's pretty well packed and, you know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and Joe has, or John Sear has John T. Sear Sons has a ongoing SWIP, you know, because it's considered, you know, perhaps an industrial site. It would meet
Yep.
probably that criteria. So they have an ongoing SWIP, stormwater prevention, pollution
Right.
prevention plan, through DEP. And they update it every year, you know, and they're making their reports every year on that as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, the only, I just wanted to, first off, there's nothing else that particular on this, so, you know, might as well talk about it. The other is that, you know, if we approved it and then your, you know, DEP came back with your stormwater permit, you know, and said, well, no, you didn't ask us, I just
Right.
kind of walking through what I understand of it and making, it doesn't seem like it'd be anything for them to be concerned about.
No, based on my experience, especially if you're not increasing the impervious
Yeah.
area and you have a site here that's been here since Adam, you know, that's not, you know, that's not a significant issue.
Does anyone else have any questions of Mr. Emerson? Get it right this time. Okay. Well, you were kind enough to list the findings of fact that we need to review for site plan review. And without objection, I'll just kind of go down through them. We've already discussed a lot of them. And then would ask for a motion afterwards to accept the findings of fact as we've discussed them and Mr. Emerson has presented them. And then move on to approving the application, or a motion to that effect if you want to do that. Number one is the utilization of the site. We've discussed that, and it certainly is in keeping with that use. Same with traffic access and parking and pedestrian circulation. We've discussed stormwater management and do not feel that there's going to be any change in the impervious surface. Same with erosion control, and the client applicant's going to be taking steps to improve erosion control. I certainly would suggest that if they didn't do anything, that there wouldn't be a problem, but they're going to prevent any possible erosion by riprap. Water supply divisions, there's no water going into this unit. Same with sewage disposal, utilities. I'm assuming you are going to run power to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so natural features and landscaping that said what they're going to do to maintain the ditch. Same with water quality protection. My understanding of the downstream flow from that ephemeral site there in wetland is it just kind of puddles up back there. It doesn't go anywhere.
No, not really. no.
I don't know of any brook that's feeding.
No, no.
And the hazardous material, there won't be any, or they will be done in accordance with the standards for whatever they might be storing in there. Shoreland zoning, there's no shoreland zoning. Capacity of the applicant, we've addressed that in the application. Same with solid waste management, historic and archaeological resources, floodplain management, and exterior lighting. Okay, we saw that in the plan. I don't see where that's gonna be a problem for anybody. And there are adequate provisions for screening of mechanical equipment, refuse containers, and outdoor storage, and there will be no outdoor sales. So having read through the finding of fact that we are required to consider, any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, I would ask
Make a motion that we approve the finding of fact, as you had asked.
We have a second, Sandra, any discussion? All in favor? And then I think the next thing would be a motion
We
to,
have to make a motion also that Oscar asked for a waiver from the,
yes, I'm not even sure he needs one at this
well,
point,
if
but
you
we
want
can
it
put one on the
I'd
record.
Make a motion to do that.
You can include it, I would think you could include it, or do we have to have that separate, Dave?
If you look at the agenda item, there is a suggested
Yeah.
motion.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the site plan application for Joseph Sear of John T. Sear and Sons to construct a 60 by 60 foot commercial accessory building at 153 Gilman Falls Avenue, tax map 12, lot 13, case 1518, with one waiver and findings of fact 1 through 20.
Okay, I think maybe we
We jumped the gun earlier, but.
we did that earlier, but we're just making sure we cover the bases. So, we have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? None opposed.
Thank you very much.
Escape. We have to sign that?
Just for your.
Okay, I'll drop a check out.
We have to sign that, Dave, or,
We will.
okay. There's the other map that you wanted.
Thank you. New business?
New business.
RFPs went out for comp plan. We only received one applicant. I've gone through it. I find that they're more than qualified. They work closely with Wright Pierce, who is also doing our downtown revitalization plan. I think it would be kind of foolish to recreate the wheel between two companies. Who on this board would like to be part of that comp plan? And I'll let you review this and then look for your feedback.
Are you only looking for one member, or?
No, as many as
Okay,
wants
well,
to be.
as long as I wouldn't be precluding someone else that's interested, I'd be interested.
Thanks, Oscar.
Thanks, Oscar.
Go down the elevator. I'd like just to have you review this before. I've had a couple of the counselors, Carol May and Linda McLeod, are interested in being on it. It's going to be, there'll be some separate committees. There'll be one that'll be the comp plan committee, but ultimately it's gonna come back to this whole committee, this whole board.
That's not gonna be a problem.
No, no, I'm just looking, as I say, I was
Me being
kinda hoping
involved
we'd
in the-
have quite a few RFPs come in, but we received one.
Hmm.
But as I say, I've gone through two of the counselors, and just looking for some input if you think that,
I'd be happy to look it over. When do you need to make that
No, first of next week,
Okay.
we'd like to get back to them.
How long a process do they envision this taking?
They're looking at delivery to be in 15 months. And that's about right. I was talking with Phil Rock today at a stormwater meeting. And
That's with all the hearings and everything else that goes with it.
with all the hearings. He's on the Orono Planning Board, and they had 30 meetings.
30? Might want to rescind my volunteer.
No, and I'd really like to see more than just one person from this board beyond this, because you are the ones that ultimately are gonna be reviewing anything that comes to us under the new comp plan. And I'm hearing no takers.
We're all volunteers.
Yeah, they're looking for,
Did you say that you'd really like to see someone else?
I would
in it?
really like to see more than,
I'm seeing no effect.
when the council put you in that position, would you rather be a volunteer?
You want to throw another really in there? I don't think it's gonna help.
You really expect 30 meetings? This,
For Old Town, I don't. I
Yeah,
don't,
it'll be less than that.
I
Or no,
don't
different.
see, I don't see a lot of changes in our comp plan. Our growth areas are where they are. I know I may have said this before, we're not gonna be running new infrastructure out to West Old Town, College Ave. It is what it is. It's this area, the redevelopment of the Old Town Canoe site, and Stillwater Avenue.
Yeah, no, those are pretty straightforward,
We can have more traffic.
you know. I mean, some of the things that were done over the years, like Marsh Island, you know, this area right here across the street, I mean, that was fairly significant. A lot of things had to happen. But,
But the fact of the matter is, right now, we're operating under a 1995 comprehensive plan, which is
you know,
10 years beyond, well, 20 years beyond is the day, but
supposed to be renewed every 10 years.
every 10 years.
I don't anticipate it's gonna be that big a deal.
No, I don't. Yeah, we've had a lot of surveys that we've already done in the last 2 years. We've done a citywide survey on municipal services. We're now operating under the new downtown. There was another survey that was done, which I don't see, that may shorten up their time span. And I put that in my cover letter for the RFP. We don't want to recreate all of these surveys, because the answers aren't going to be any different than they were a year ago.
No, it'd be good to go through it all though and kind of fine tune it a little bit. There's just been some issues around, you know, and things have changed. The Route 2 going out towards, you know, the back way up by Great Works.
And as you know, when we did the green space meeting here, they looked at all our maps and said, we really don't see any changes going to happen here.
Yeah, well,
We're so
many
full.
it can change. I mean,
Resource
university-
protection, we've got a huge amount of resource protection where, can we take little pieces of that? Probably so. It'll be on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
We're not gonna go through and remap all the resource protection. Next month, I think, is the month we need to elect officers. I think that's how it worked last year. It was March.
So whoever shows up last at the next meeting is the chairman.
I won't be here next month. I'll be in
Okay, there you go.
You're elected.
But that's it for me.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing else, is there? Motion to adjourn?
I'll serve on that, the comprehensive plan.
Thank you.
I think it was the second really that
Really, really.
I think that moved him.
I'll be an alternate. If you can't make a meeting, let me know. At least we can do that.
Well, it all, the whole thing is coming back here.
I
Planning
understand.
board will be going through it all, so you know, it's just a matter of, you know, being involved in it, I think, is as it's being formulated, be thinking about, you know, what sorts of things do want to change
And
or be adjusted.
And I don't see this as being, you have to be at every meeting. And if you're just interested and want to come in as a citizen and sit and offer your.
When are the meetings gonna be? Are they gonna be
No idea,
middle of the day
we
type
have to
thing?
sign a contract with these people.
You can put my name.
Thank you. No, there's no schedule at this point.
Okay. No promises.
Yeah. No, and I don't think, like he said, I mean, there's gonna be somebody on for every meeting. I would think that, I don't know, there's just gonna be a few meetings that are would probably be important, and then the other ones, if you're available, fine, if you're not,
Okay.
and you're interested.
Do they give you that information as far as what the meeting, so you know?
Well, I'm assuming
Yes.
we're gonna, you know, some of them will be, there'll be workshops, there'll be public hearings,
Correct.
and so it, yeah,
I
it
go
goes through a
With the
standard.
downtown revitalization meetings, there's been 2 thus far. Last night went from 6:30 to about 8 to 8:15. The one prior to that was more of a meeting of the minds with maps and breakout groups. There was 10 groups looking at what they thought should happen to downtown.
Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting. You know, don't expect anything earth-shaking.
The background of the community is the same. The history is the same. The demographics are really the same. There's not a lot of change here. It's all, if you get a vocal group that all of a sudden want to change an entire zoning district and see a different look to that, then it will. And that's where whatever committee makes up this comp plan committee will have more input than.
Well, should be interesting.
Thank you. Do you want to those that are volunteering for me, would you like to review this, just to give me your input on
I'll
the
look at it.
RFPs?
Yeah, I'll look at it.
That would be good. That's it for me.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
We are adjourned.